This is what's going to happen, my brothers and sisters. The Chinese, they're already in Africa, but they're getting ready to double up. The Europeans have been in Africa, they're getting ready to double up. Africa is going to become a first world. The question is, who is going to take it to become a first world?
This is the journey to one Africa.
And I want you to follow me very closely here. So the boundaries that have been keeping us from trading with each other are melting away. You'll be able to establish yourself in one place and spread like wildfire throughout the continent. But the reality on the ground is Africa does not have the expertise that is needed to build the Africa that we want. That's a fact. The children of Africa in the diaspora, starting with those who are descendants of the formerly enslaved, going back 400 years ago, the brain drain out of Africa has really left Africa in a very bad place. Now picture this situation now. The boundaries are all melting away. Guess what? Now that Cape to Cairo highway can be built, the question is, who is going to build it? Massive commercial farms are going to be opened up. The question is, who is going to own them? New airports, roads, hospitals, schools. Who's going to build them? Because the children who need to build their Africa, the children who own the minerals and Africa's wealth are in the diaspora. Are they ready to stand up and take the place that has their name? My findings are the children of Africa are still fast asleep and too busy running away from Africa. This is what's going to happen, my brothers and sisters. The Chinese, they're already in Africa, but they're getting ready to double up. The Europeans have been in Africa, they're getting ready to double up. Africa is going to become a first world. The question is, who is going to take it to become a first world? Is it the Chinese? Is it the Europeans? Or is it going to be you and I, my brothers and sisters? It is really that simple. 2017, President Trump was addressing the African heads of states. He flat out said, you African presidents, I don't know why your countries are poor. My friends go to Africa poor, they come back rich. A lot of diaspora called me to say, but Ambassador, how could he say that? I said, well, did the man say anything that wasn't true? The question you should be asking me is, what do I need to do to go and take what is rightfully mine? The heads of state are saying, Ambassador, the children of Africa in the diaspora must come home and take what is rightfully theirs. Africa is going to be built. There is nothing wrong with you investing in Africa, coming back to America and play golf just like they do. The opportunities that are opening up in Africa today are opportunities that black people never even know about. And they're saying, we want the children of Africa to be on the driver's seat. You see, you don't go to China and find black people driving the Chinese development agenda. You don't go to Mexico. You don't go to Europe. You don't go to India and find black people driving the developmental agendas for those continents and those countries. You therefore must not, should not, and by God will not go to Africa and find non-Africans driving the African continental development agenda. Unless, of course, and by African, I'm referring to all people of African descent. Because in my opinion, and the opinions of those African heads of states, we are all Africans. If the children of Africa choose to vacate that seat that has their name, then you deserve what you have coming. I'm here to let you know, they're calling, the heads of states are calling all of you to come home and invest. I've heard some come up with stupid comments like, but well, Ambassador, those heads of state, they just want to take our money. You are being told not to go to Africa because it is a diseased and dying continent, while they are running to Africa in droves. Try catching any of the flights into Africa. 75% of the people don't look like you and I. Even intercontinental, within the continent, flights within the continent, most of the people there don't look like you and I, and yet you are busy being told, don't go to Africa. Why are they going to Africa in droves if there's nothing there? They're not traveling 10,000 miles, 15,000 miles for nothing. They're going to Africa because there's something amazing and wonderful going on, and they don't want you to know. So the sooner we wake up and realize that we are inheritors of an amazing continent, that everything that is in Africa belongs to us. If we do not stand up and take our place, Africa is gone. This time, for good. So I'm here to let you all know that we are at a do or die time in the history of black people. We have a tremendous opportunity that will never come again. Opportunities that we as black people are never exposed to anywhere else on earth. It is our time to let the world know once and for all that we've had enough, and we're saying enough is enough. We can no longer continue to be the most disrespected race. We've got to pull our finances together. I've registered an entity called African Diaspora Development Institute. It is going to be the one-stop shop for everything African. I will be opening offices in every African country, and I am looking the heads of states in the face and say, this is how you're going to get the diaspora. You see, in the past, it was, well, we don't know how to reach the diaspora, Ambassador. And they were right, because we were not organized. We were not united. But through ADDI, I'm going to look them in the face and say, now the diaspora are coming home. Give me one reason why the next airport is going to be built by a non-African. And I use airport as an example. Look at Atlanta Airport. Maynard Jackson said he was not going to approve the opening of that airport unless 50% of the contractors were black. They tried to say, well, we can't find them, we don't know where they are. He said, well, then the airport will not be built. And see how quickly they found the black contractors. Atlanta Airport today is one of the busiest and one of the best airports in the world. It is the largest airport in the world, run by black people, built by black people. Hallelujah. I am going to be looking at each and every head of state and say, this is what your children have done in Atlanta. Tell me why the next African airport is going to be built by the Chinese or the European. That is unacceptable, and this time we better show up because those contracts belong to us. Through ADDI, we're going to be creating a database. We want to know who you are, what you do professionally, and your company, what you do. What services do you offer? This is a time for collaborations. These contracts are humongous contracts. So we need to adjust our attitudes. We need to understand it's about coming together. It's no longer about me. And if we don't do it for us, this generation, let's at least do it for our children. our grandchildren, and generations to come. It will sadden me greatly to leave this world without sharing what I know. I've told my husband, give me 2 years, I'm going to run around this country like a chicken without a head. I am going to tell every black person that needs to hear to say, wake up. If you continue to be asleep this time, then you deserve what you get. Black people are some of the most beautiful, intelligent, sophisticated, highly adaptable, and totally indestructible. Any other race that would have gone through what we went through, they would be extinct. And still we rise. I think Reverend Richardson has put some flyers, invest them in the French stock market, and your countries may or may not know the returns. Should you wish to access some of your 85% reserves, and this was to be done annually, which left the countries only with 15%. Should you wish to access some of your own money, you have to submit a financial statement for your country. And if approved, you can only access up to 20% of your previous year's deposits as a loan at commercial interest rates. Your own money, you go from having credit with France, now you owe France a debt that you'll never be able to pay. They also said your military can only be trained by France, that France will have military presence in your country and can invade you without notice should they feel that French interests are being violated. A violation could be as simple as a country saying, I no longer wish to send my reserves to France. That was a violation that called for a coup, an assassination of a president. They also said these countries are not allowed to have military alliance with their neighbors, and that in the event of war, the African countries individually can only align themselves with France. They also said all the minerals discovered and yet to be discovered, all the oil discovered and yet to be discovered, French companies have the first right of refusal. If there's anything that the French do not want, maybe the locals could have. They also said all the public-private large contracts, French companies have the first right of refusal. Now, my brothers and sisters, if you were to wake up one morning and you're now the president of one of these countries, and your chief of staff reads to you the do's and don'ts as stipulated by the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization, you have given up your finances, you have given up your military, and you've given up your natural resources. What power do you have? You are like a leader who is fighting with your hands tied. Such is the status of affairs to this day. To this day. So you can understand my outrage. As I was traveling around the country, I realized that people had never heard about this pact. That France is taking over $500 billion out of Africa every year. The latest figures are saying for every 14 billion France takes out of Africa, by the time they finish investing it, it's over 300 billion. I'll let you do the math. And we're busy fighting over, oh, but the African heads of states, I'm not saying they're not a problem, but I'm saying corruption is a team sport. We must bring all have the corruptors to boot. And when you understand what is going on, you can better strategize. Now you understand and you begin to realize how the 50 billion becomes a big chunk under the table. So they keep you fighting under the table so you never have to get on the table. I liken the problems of Africa to a tree. The issues of lack of access to healthcare, lack of access to education, poor infrastructure, poor governance, to the leaves and the flowers and the branches of a tree. We can complain about them, and every season after the other, they come and they die, they come and they die, and we keep complaining. But until we get to the root causes of these problems, nothing is going to change. We must understand that the stronghold of Africa by the former colonizers is a very tight grip. A grip that makes it impossible to govern. Yes, leaders do have responsibilities, and we do expect them to do more. But we too must understand that to a very great extent, they're operating under serious restrictions. And this is where you come in. The diaspora. You have to understand also that as part of the Berlin Conference, they made us feel that everything African was bad and that everything European was better and more desirable. The sad truth is we're still suffering from that ailment, that we don't think we're good enough. The self-hate that exists among us is deep. Have you ever wondered why our black communities are full of Oriental shops? If a black man has a shop in a black neighborhood, as soon as a Chinaman comes in, the black man goes out of business because we stop patronizing them. Why? What kind of insanity is that? Turn it around. Try going to open a shop in the Chinese neighborhood. You won't even get a license. And we seem to be okay with that. We have normalized the abnormal. I'm talking about the disease that has taken us not only in the doctor's waiting room, not only in the ward in the hospital, but we are in the intensive care, suffering from the legacy of slavery and the legacy of colonization. And until we understand that we're suffering from this disease, nothing we do is going to change. You see, you could be in a position of leadership and go to that boardroom with a colonized mind, with a mind that is suffering from slavery. You are also going to bring out garbage. You are not there for us. And that is where the healing begins, with the conversation with image in the mirror. Most of us don't even realize that we're suffering from this disease. You see, this country, more than any other country, this is a place that if any group of people should get it, it should be in this country. Ask for the voices of Chinese Indian diaspora, loud and clear, Chinese, loud and clear, Irish Americans, Italian Americans, German Americans. They are connected with their anchor, and they are proud of their anchor. But ask for the voices of people of African descent. You might as well go to the graveyard. We're missing in action. We're too busy running away from our anchor, which is Africa. And it's not by surprise that we are like a ship with all sails but no anchor. We're like palm trees. The wind blows this way, there we go. The wind blows that way, there we go. We have got to understand that as people of African descent, Africa is home. The good, the bad, and the ugly. We are descendants of the original people. And to the black women I say, you must pat yourself on the back every day. Because without you, there would not be any other race. to humanity. So as such, why are we the most disrespected people? We are inheritors of the most amazing continent with everything and anything the world could ever need. Even as we speak, the world is looking to Africa for everything they need. We are the only continent that if only our children in the diaspora could come home, we don't need anybody else. If the truth be told, the world needs Africa. Africa does not need the world. And that is a fact. So in 1963, our Pan-African leaders, realizing that Africa was left on a losing path by the Berlin Conference, they came together in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, at the invitation of Emperor Haile Selassie, precisely to come together and create an Africa that spoke with one voice. But sadly, when they went to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, they were divided. NATO was once again at work, infiltrated some of the leaders. We had the Casablanca group who said, Africa for the Africans, African Union now. They were Ghana, Guinea and Mali, Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia. The rest were the nationalists. They were the Monrovia group. They said, no, hold off on this unity thing. Let's go slow. They were the majority, so they won. We often say Africa lost when the Casablanca group lost in 1963. The issue of an Africa speaking with one voice as one continent and one people was raised every year when our leaders met. They came up with a compromise which they called OAU, Organization of African Unity. And year in and year out, they failed to reach a consensus about a united Africa. Until March of 2018, when the African heads of states finally agreed on a decision which we are now calling African Continental Free Trade Area. The leaders agreed to unite and merge the current 5 regional customs unions into one. The hope is, come July this year, all the 55 African countries can enter the world market as one customs union.